guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We're back here at Loki Kia in Clearwater, Florida, because guess what? We have their very first. This is a 2022 slightly updated Kia Telluride. This particular one is the S trim. But before we get into this top-selling midsize SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. Kia. They've been doing the business here in the United States since the early 1990s. You basically had two different choices of Kia vehicles. You could go with the Kia Sophia or the Kia Sportage. Boy, oh boy, in the 21st century, have things changed for Kia, especially when it comes to their bang-up lineup. And you know what? When they introduced this SUV, they really shocked not only the auto industry, but also just people's impressions of what Kia was all about. Now going into the 2022 model year, we see some slight revisions. There is a little bit of a price bump depending on which trim you go with, but I think the biggest news is they finally updated the Kia logo and all the badging. And this 2022 Telluride is the first Telluride to have that updated badging. So let's go ahead, let's dive into this S trim. It's not a top SX or SX Prestige, and it's not a base LX. Let's find out, does the S trim bring the most for your midsize three-row SUV money? And really, is this still the best midsize three-row SUV you should be buying over the Highlander, over the Subaru Ascent, and all the other competitors in this very hot class of the SUV industry? Let's find out with our 2022 Kia Telluride. Right off the bat, the proportions, the way it's shaped. I think that's a lot of things that drew people to this SUV, and it continues to still do those great things. Starting at the front of the business, you're gonna get that projector beam, headlight style. Now what's interesting, remember, when you go on a lower trim like this S, the daytime running lamps are still LED, of course, but it's a white LED rather than the SX and the SX Prestige with the orange LED. And it's funny because I remember when I first showed this at the media unveil in Colorado, a lot of people are like, I don't like the shape of that. Now it's such a brand identifier and a Telluride identifier. You could tell it's a Telluride from a million miles away. So you got that projector beam style headlight. I like the way there's some flat silver, a little bit of black, and then working your way down, you can see all the intricate detail and design. Now in the corners, nice smooth finish. You're gonna still get those functional, yes, functional side air curtains. I love that brushed aluminum look. Not a bunch of gloss black. I think that's one of my favorite things about the Telluride. And as we come across the updated grille design, and there it is, the first time ever you're seeing it here on Raiti's Rides, that is the updated Kia badge on a Kia Telluride. Really think that this badge fits the vehicle nicely. You got that tiger nose grille that has been updated with some of the design. It is gloss black, but not too heavy of a design. Fully functional, of course. You have that brushed aluminum around the perimeter that matches nicely with those side corner vents. And of course, with the Kia badge, looking really slick. Working your way down, functionality in the center, and then all the way down to the bottom, you get some flat black with even more functionality with the grille. So the center grille is really set up not only to look good with that brand identifying tiger nose grille, but everything is functional, and you're gonna get this simulated skid plate. So this design is meant to mimic a skid plate, but it gives it that familiar SUV look to it, looking really great on this 2022 Telluride. Now, when you get up out of the hood, you are gonna have the badging. I am gonna zonk it. I wish that they would sync each of these letters into the hood a little bit so it wasn't just stuck on emblems. I think it would give it a little bit cleaner look, but definitely the Telluride script with that updated grille. I think this is one of my favorite parts of the grille is the center area, the way the hood kind of nicely meets with that. You're gonna get a broad flat hill, a little bit of a mini bulge in the center, nice indentations on both sides. Clean styling is the name of the game. Now, when you come around the bend, what are we working with when you go S? When you go S trim, these are the wheels you're gonna get. It is a 20-inch wheel, so you're still getting the same diameter as an SX or an SX Prestige. There's our updated Kia logo, smack dab in the center, machined aluminum with that metallic gray finish. I think it's a clean wheel, even for it not being the top trim wheel. If you want a better looking wheel, if you don't like this one, you go up SSX, SX Prestige, and you get a different wheel. Still 20 inches though, looking good. 245 on the width, 50 series sidewall. I think one of the downfalls of the Telluride is that, remember, it's not a rear-wheel drive base chassis. It's a front-wheel drive base chassis. You could get your all-wheel drive, of course, which is very important with that center locking diff. Another thing, I'm not gonna zonk it on the S trim, but the flat black. When you go up the higher trims, there should be no flat black, but just something to be aware of. On our particular one, it kind of breaks up that gray color just a tad, but I kind of try to close my eyes and imagine this all painted. I think it would look even better than what it looks right now. Now going down the side, you are gonna get your turn signals nicely mounted in those side mirrors with color match on the colors of the vehicle onto those mirror caps. You have some brushed aluminum along the bottom. And I think that's the thing I like about the Telluride. It really is a nice cohesive design. Flat black, but with that brushed aluminum along the bottom, looking really clean, no gloss black. And then I think where Kia really hit the nail on the head is not only by giving the Telluride a nice flat roof, but you got those low roof rails, and then this part right here. There's just something about the way the trim kind of flares up and then drops back down. It gives it such unique style that you're not going to confuse the Telluride with anything else. If you do, it may be a Range Rover, and boy oh boy, think about the price differences between the Telluride and a Range Rover product. But working our way back, some brushed aluminum tastefully done on the door handles. Love the size of the rear quarter glass, especially the way they flare out the trim. And then coming around back, on the S trim, you are going to get a nice, short, stubby, low roof spoiler, matching shark fin antenna. You do have the rear wiper, and we are going to zonk that. It would be nice if all manufacturers would just clean up the rear glass, put the wiper underneath that low roof spoiler. But I love the waterfall design of the LED lighting. A lot of people ask me, Joe, what would you rather have, a Palisade, a Telluride? I'm going Telluride every single day of the week, especially for the style. And in my eyes, this style is a lot cleaner than what the Palisade is bringing to the table. Telluride badge looking very bold, very prominent with that new updated Kia badge looking slick. And then as we drop down, you are gonna get that nice aluminum finish on the exhaust. They're both on one side with that gloss metallic gray on the bottom portion. Would be nice to have the dual exhaust, but I would save that for an SX trim. But even if you go higher up the trim, you're still getting the same exhaust, which to me doesn't make sense. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and see what's powering our 2022 Telluride. Guys, we got the hood popped. You do have hydraulic hood struts. Some of the competition still using the prop rod, but underneath the hood, Kia left no stone unturned. They actually updated the Kia badge on the engine cover. I like the engine cover. Simple but clean design. It doesn't look like a trash can lid like some of the competition. But what are we looking at? We're looking at that same 3.8 liter naturally aspirated V6. That's 291 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, 0 to 60 in around 7 seconds flat. Top speed is governed to around 132 miles per hour. The Telluride weighs in at around 4,443 pounds. MPGs, 19 in the city, 29 on the highway. And I think the smartest thing that Kia did was kept it simple with the engine choices. One engine, one transmission. Take the guessing game out of the equation. The only difference is, are you gonna go front wheel drive or are you gonna go all wheel drive? But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior, see what's different for 2022 and see if Telluride is still bringing the A game. All right guys, we're inside the 2022 Telluride. I still remember the first time getting in one of these. It really blew my mind just what the styling was all about. Because remember, these are styled, were designed in California and they're built right in good old Atlanta, Georgia. So that really kind of keeps it nice and close to where we live here in the United States. But anyways, enough about maps and enough about geography. I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I've been looking at the Telluride. I heard about the badge change. I thought I would just wait for that because you know what? They sell these so fast. Every time I go to the dealership, they're gone. But I'm hoping to get a 2022. How much is this S trim? Because I don't want to go base. I don't want to go SX Prestige. Well, guess what? MSRP for the S, the way that you see it, is right around $36,000. Let's see what you get for the money. And just so you know, that is $700 more than last year. But you are getting some additions, and I'll point those out to you. Let's go to the door panel and see what you're getting. Love the clean style, nice soft material up top. You have some brushed aluminum look going on there, not only with the door handle, but with the rest of the trim. No gloss black. So I'm very happy to report no gloss black whatsoever. Nice soft on the armrest. Look at the contrast stitching. And then the speaker grille cover. That's not like a Harman Kardon sound system grille cover. That's an actual Kia Telluride. It actually says Telluride on the speaker grille. Nice little touches. That's what I like to see. The one zonk is going to be the door pocket. Not very wide. It is a deep opening, but not very wide. So maybe I would say 8 Costco churros and a bottle of Yoo-Hoo to wash it all down. Talk about a sugar rush, but let's go ahead. Let's keep this rush going and check out the dash. Nice soft touch material that simulates stitching. There's that aluminum finish. Look, Mom, no fingerprints, and it looks good. That other aluminum all running into the radio controls, and this is new for 2022. The S trim gets the larger 10.3-inch infotainment system. Love the horizontal display. I like the way it's mounted. Let me know what you think in the comment section, what you feel, how you're feeling about how this infotainment is mounted. But you have navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Throw it in reverse. They upgraded the camera quality with trajectory, and you got that blind spot monitoring for when you're backing up so you don't back up over anybody. Put it back in the park, and there we are. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Radio controls really clean. You got your start stop button. On the S trim, besides this sexy start stop button, look what we got as we go to the right. We got dual climate control. So you and your passenger get to choose your own temperature. Heated seats, no ventilated seats. I'm okay with that because of the price point. On the side though, we do have a nice little Twinkie holder or Trinkie. You can put some Trinkies or Twinkies. I prefer Twinkies. You could put the generic Trinkies in there if you want. We got our oh crap grab handle. Now remember, if you're the driver and you're holding on to both of these, I don't want to be in the Telluride with you. That means something bad's about to happen. The only zonk for the center console area is going to be the amount of gloss black here, especially on the lid for this area. But the good news is most of you are probably going to drive like that because you got wireless charging. Yes, on the S trim, you got a 12 volt. Don't stick a Twinkie in there. It hurts. I don't know that from experience. USBs, 2 of them. And it's really clean design. This is going to control that 8-speed automatic transmission. You got a little Skittles holder up here for the passengers up front and the driver. 2 cup holders. There's our Kia key fob with the updated badge. Remote start looking great. Love the buttons. Nice weight to it. And then you're going to have your drive mode selector switch. I'll show you more of that when you come to the driver's side, the business end. Silver controls. A little bit more gloss black, but nothing too crazy. Soft on the armrest. Watch this. Boom. Open that up. You got a pretzel tray. Get pretzel sticks. The old-fashioned pretzels. The only thing you're not going to be able to put in here unless you break them in half are pretzel rods. And then you could easily put, I would say, 1 football. Say you were at the most recent Super Bowl game and you had Tom Brady sign your balls. You could actually put that football in there, signed by Tom Brady, and just ride around and just show it to people as you're sitting at a light. Kind of weird, but hey, if you're a super fan, that's what you do. I'm a super fan of these seats. Love the material, the stitch work, very nice, soft. You do have manual controls for the passenger, but I am okay with that because this is the S trim. The great news is everybody's getting tons of headroom, and on the S trim, you're getting a sunroof. Not a panoramic, but remember, that's a different story when you go to different levels of trim, but why don't you get your butt over here? I'm all alone, I'm all by myself. Come over here to the business end. I want to show you behind the wheel of this 2022 Telluride. All right, guys, here we are. Business time. I'm telling you right now, I don't even want to or need a mid-size 3-row SUV, but I love the Telluride. It's really that special of a vehicle. You do have, like I said, power seat controls for the driver, so that's a good, nice touch at the S trim level. Seats are comfy. I mean, you could go millions of miles sitting in this seat. You might have to stop to use the bathroom, or maybe you're wearing a diaper or something. I don't know. But what you do have is this wonderful steering wheel, tilting and telescoping. We got the new Kia badge. Yes, we do. Simulated stitching, nice touch. A little bit of silver, just a little bit of gloss black. And then instrumentation. You're going to have analog tach, analog speedometer, fuel gauge, and coolant gauge, and a very small digital display in the center. You have your different drive modes, like I promised: sport, comfort, eco, and smart. Other than that, it's great. I mean, I personally don't need a 12-inch digital display, but Maybe that's something coming for 2022 on the higher trims, but shh, I didn't say anything about that. Let's get to the mid-row though. I want to show you what the Telluride brings for those passengers so you can spoil the heck out of it. All right guys, mid-row time in the Telluride. I'm telling you, this is where the Telluride really earns its money because of the amount of room back here. You do have the captain's chairs, and I'm still gonna zonk it. I was hoping that they would change these armrests, make them just a little bit wider, and they are that annoying ratcheting kind. I can't stand that, so I'm just gonna flip it out of the way, but I love the material. You do have AC controls in the back for the mid-rows. Everything is mounted up top, and you have the vents up top. Backs of the seats, a combo deal. You do have the plastic, and I'm not gonna zonk it because I know parents are gonna drive these vehicles and you could clean your kids' boogers and stuff and like grape jelly jam fingerprints off the back. Here's the wonderful news is that you do have a solid pocket, so you could easily put a couple books about Colorado back here. Learn about the history about Telluride. It's not just an SUV, it's actually a name of a town which has been around for a long time. To hell you ride. But anyways, moving on, you do have a little cargo net. That's actually for your cell phone. Watch this. I'm actually gonna do a Raiti's Rides demo for you. This is my cell phone. Where do I put it? I don't know. I guess I could put it on the floor and drop it, but watch this. Yes. That is the pocket for your phone. And then what you do is, think about it. Take your cord, your charging cord, put it over this little hook, and you actually have the USBs on the backs of the seats. Kia was one of the first to do that. Smart engineering. 2 cup holders, not digging the gloss black because of the fingerprints. You're gonna get soda spilled on it and whatnot. Dropping down, you do have a 12 volt. That's besides the 2 USBs. And then when it comes to the seats, like I said, I'm 6 feet tall with that sexy flat roof. Everybody gets great space up here, up top and down below. Speaking of down below, it's gonna happen. You got your sliding seats and reclining seats, and they feel really, really good. Lots of flexibility in the positioning. Let's go ahead though. Let's see if you have to be really flexible. See what I did there? With your body to get in the 3rd row. Let's check it out. All right, guys, where's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides? I feel like a Where's Waldo. Guess what? I'm back here in the 3rd row. The great news is the seat moves way out of the way. That's really far in measurement talk. You do have some plastic there on the landing pad so that your kids won't rip up the carpet. Once you get in, it's actually not too shabby. The only zonk is where my knees are. I wish my knees were just a little bit lower, but if you compare this to a Toyota Highlander, you're sitting like a king back here instead of being thrown in the dungeon or the Iron Maiden. That's what I feel like. I feel like the king in my throne back here. They use the same great material. Sometimes the different brands, they'll find like whatever's on the floor at the factory and kind of just use that for the material on the 3rd row. So you're gonna get the nice seats. We got our snack tray. You can put your nachos, some melted Velveeta. I know some people out there are big fans. Somebody very close to me loves that Velveeta cheese. The USBs back here. But you know what? Let's get to the cargo area and see what you could haul to hell you ride. All right, guys, tail end of the business. Hit the button. On the S trim, you're gonna have to use your muscles. You're gonna have some spinach. Watch a little Popeye, maybe call up Popeye and get some spinach. You have to use some muscles to lift it up, but it's really not a big deal. The big news and the big deal is, look at how much space you have, even with that 3rd row up. And if you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, how much space is that really? I want a measurement. Well, let me go ahead and get my T-square out and measure it for you. It's 21 cubic feet of space with the seats up. You look at some of the competition, that destroys them. Just totally blows them out of the water. Fold the 3rd row down, you're looking at 46 cubic feet. Fold down all 3 rows, you're looking at 87 cubic feet. And I know a lot of people like to compare this to the Tahoe. You can't. The Tahoe is a larger vehicle. That's a full size. This is a mid-size. But let me show you just how easy it is for these seats to fold down. No buttons, no electric assist. Look at that. Boom. Boom. Gives you a nice flat floor. I want to showcase that in the S trim, remember this isn't the top trim, you do have USBs. Excuse me. I'm getting all choked up here about this Telluride. That's how much I like them. USBs for the 3rd row, the cup holders, obviously the AC vents located up high, and then you could fold down the mid row by simply hitting these buttons. And what's this guy here? Nice little 12 volt. Look what we got. Snickers trays, Twinkie box areas, literally have designed it for the snacks. And if you want to see really the grand slam of storage areas. Watch this. 1, 2. Look at all that room. You literally can get 15 pounds of Skittles, 15-pound bags of Skittles, just dump them in there, fill them up, and then you're good to go. Another nice feature, watch this. You wanna see a little hocus pocus? You could actually flip this around. So let's say you don't want the nice carpet to get messed up because your kids have their dirty soccer gear or hockey gear, football, rugby, whatever sport they're playing, you could just flip it over. Or you could just put it down like that and have it open. Taste the rainbow. That's what I'm talking about. But you know what? What's better than tasting the rainbow? If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go taste some on throttle in our Telluride. All right, guys, we left Loki Kia. We're in the 2022 Telluride S. And the great news is, no matter what trim you're going with, you're actually going to get the same engine and transmission. So that's the great news, is that if you're looking at a higher trim than the S, you could still watch this video and compare to the driving, because you are going to get the same power plant. Now, I do have it in sport mode. Remember, you just adjust it using the little knob right behind the shifter. And right away, I mean, you feel super good with the seating placement. That was something that as soon as I drove it for the first time at Telluride, I love the way you're seated in the vehicle. You can see the nice broad hood, and with 2022, you're getting that larger infotainment system screen, which is a very nice addition. Even though they added $700 to the price, you're also getting adaptive cruise control across all trims, which is really awesome. Now, going over the expansion joints soaks everything up. Steering has a nice feel to it, to the actual wheel and the actual active steering. It could be a little bit heavier for my taste, especially in sport mode, but other than that, I'm telling you, they did a bang-up job. Remember, this was Kia's first time with the Telluride when they introduced it, first time with this large of an SUV, and they knocked it out of the park. But why don't we go ahead, let me slow down a little bit, and we're gonna go on throttle in our 2022 Telluride. So on throttle, here we go. Drops down, and we are off. The nice thing about having that naturally aspirated V6 is that the power delivery is really smooth all the way through the rev range. I don't know if you can hear, but it's holding on to the gear. It's holding on to the gear in sport mode, whereas if I go into comfort, see how it automatically drops back down? That's what I like, is that there's a distinct difference between the different drive modes. I'm gonna put it back into sport. Easy to see. You don't have to look down at the center console. It's easy to see in that small digital display. And I think that's probably the one thing that people want to see, is a full digital display rather than that little small one. But you do have beautiful LED backlit gauges, which is really nice. If you haven't driven a Telluride, I highly recommend it. It is going to change the way you feel about the brand. And with the new updated badge, I feel a lot of people like that direction with the change for the badge, because a lot of people were complaining, but brakes feel good. Here we are going into this U-turn area. Nice, look at that. Really smooth. On throttle, here we go. Little bit of tire spin, and we are off and running. Look at that. Get up to speed. Nice. I think for a SUV this size, 0 to 67 seconds is right smack dab in the middle. Not too fast, not too slow. When you compare it to the competition, I think you're going to be in a very, very good place. You do have blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, all the different technology. And like I said, for 2022, you have the adaptive cruise control. But hopefully this gave you a nice overall feel of what the 2022 Telluride is all about. As you can see, the raindrops are starting to fall here in sunny Florida. We are going to wrap this one up and get back to Loki Kia, so I'll see you in a split second. It's been another great day here at Loki Kia. Definitely want to thank Danny, Robert, and the rest of the crew getting us their very first 2022 Telluride, that S trim. Stay tuned. You know we're going to bring the other trim levels to you. Let me know what you think about the new badge design on the Telluride. I'm curious to think what you are thinking about that whole different setup with the revised grille and the revised badging. Is the Telluride the one to get? I'll tell you right now, like I said, the mid-size SUV segment is fierce. Kia is really doing the business when it comes to this Telluride, even with the slight little changes. But if you want to keep seeing mid-size 3-row SUVs here on Raity's Rides, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raity's Rides family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you in the channel, click the first link in the description, become a Raity's Rides Patreon member. Click the second link, get yourself some Raity's Rides merch. Got to give it up to the queen of the camera. She does the business, no questions asked. Not asking any questions. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.